what car enthusiasts are doing to curb these type of incidents.
I'm Heather Allen. Coming up, we'll find out what a local nonprofit is doing to clean up our waterways and the impact it's having on our environment.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communications at San Jose State University, your source for what's happening with a fresh perspective on today's issues. You're watching Update News.
Welcome to Update News. I'm Heather Allen.
And I'm Jesus Telitude. We begin with an arrest connected to a dangerous sideshow this past weekend where shots were fired. Santa Clara police announced this morning they've arrested 2 suspects and they found the gun. The suspects had to stash it away under a pumpkin on a nearby front stoop. The mayors of several South Bay cities are calling for a new law enforcement task force to curb the sideshows. As reporter Denitris Chevis-Rowe shows us, others are trying to curb the violence too.
These tire marks on the street at the intersection of Laurelwood Road and Dela Cruz Boulevard in Santa Clara are evidence of one of the latest sights of a dangerous sideshow last weekend. Just like so many others that have happened in the Bay Area, hundreds gathered to watch drivers spin donuts in intersections, burning up rubber and endangering spectators. But this time, shots were fired.
Sometimes in those races they do a lot of drinking and driving, and maybe, I feel like sometimes they get out of hand. That is really scary, especially because I don't work at night, but my coworker does, and I mean you never know if it was related to anything else, and then it would come over here. Yeah, it's pretty scary.
Santa Clara police are investigating, but often by the time officers arrive, the sideshow is over and has moved to a different site. Some South Bay cities are calling for a plan to share law enforcement resources in a new crackdown. Fans of legitimate car shows are fed up too. They say the sideshows give all car enthusiasts a bad rap. Matthew Alazegui is the founder of the San Jose Car Meets Instagram page. He says it's a struggle to separate car shows from illegal sideshows.
Most of the people that they have no regard for you or your car or the law or anything. It's anything goes at those meets. You'll just get your car dipped and hit, and then the fight's gonna break out because some idiot hit the car. People are trying to law enforcement, they're trying to work with local PD to help regulate these cars. There's also a lot of people that cause ruckus. They're just there to burn out and then leave or rev their exhaust. It really brings a lot of cops attention to the car scene. And then it also brings on negative attention to people that are just passively playing.
Car culture in the Bay Area is evolving. It is really car enthusiasts' responsibility to ensure that the car community is changing for the better. In Santa Clara, I'm Denitris Chevis-Rowe with Update News.
San Jose is one of the top 5 least affordable cities in the country. So it's no surprise that hundreds of the city's unhoused population seek shelter along the Guadalupe watershed. But those clandestine dwellings are polluting our waterways and sending dangerous microplastics into the ocean. I found out what a local nonprofit is doing to help clean the waterways and restore wildlife habitats. Steve Holmes and the South Bay Clean Creeks Coalition does this every week. They choose spots along the Guadalupe watershed where trash accumulates. They glove up, grab heavy-duty plastic bags, and they start cleaning. The reason? Mostly because of homeless encampments along the creek banks.
It's super harmful that we're allowing people to live this close to the waterway, and the impact not just to our local creek here, but also to the Pacific Ocean.
Tents, beds, batteries, single-use plastics. These all end up in the water. Holmes says that the elements act like a blender on these items. It makes microplastics the size of a PennDOT. They later end up being consumed by wildlife. Behind me is what looks like a trash soup in the Guadalupe River.
Holmes says that most of this litter was upstream until a storm washed it down earlier this week. South Bay Clean Creeks has removed hundreds of tons of trash from the waterways through thousands of volunteer hours. The major factor driving the volunteers is a passion for restoring and protecting natural spaces within our urban environment.
Because I'm a fisherman and an avid hunter, so I want the rivers and streams to look pristine like when I was a kid growing up.
The coalition has been leading the cleanups around the watershed for nearly 10 years. The group has seen major improvements that includes the return of wildlife, like Chinook salmon and beaver, once thought to be extinct in the area.
I didn't know there were salmon in the creeks. I didn't know there were beaver in our creeks. So I've lived here for like 20 years and I didn't know any of this.
You can find more information on how to get involved at sbcleancreeks.com.
Hashtag leaving is trending on Twitter. That's because celebrities, advertisers, and other Twitter users are either leaving or threatening to leave the social media app. It began just days after
Tesla CEO Elon Musk took over Twitter. He retweeted a link to a false conspiracy theory about the attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband. Musk took down the tweet hours later, but the damage was already done. Musk also suggested he might charge verified users $20 a month to keep the blue check on their accounts. But after some backlash, he changed his tune,
saying he'll charge them $8 a month instead. So how much trouble does all this spell for the site? Joining us now for some perspective on what's happening with Twitter is San Jose State professor Ahmed Banfa. He is an expert on cybersecurity and has been called the #1 voice in technology. Thanks for joining us, Professor.
Don't wait.
How damaging was it for Musk to retweet this false conspiracy theory about Pelosi's husband?
It's actually wrong because what he have done is in his position with 112 million followers and in the middle of him taking over Twitter, he's giving some kind of credibility to some kind of a website that's known to be spreading lies. So it was wrong from the beginning to the end.
What happens if huge numbers of users and advertisers abandon Twitter? Is it sustainable?
It's a very good question. Here's what he's doing. He's anticipating that there will be some kind of exodus of some of the advertisers. So that's why he's trying to find some revenue coming from something other than advertising. But for him to be a real, CEO of Twitter, his style has to change. He cannot just, act like what he's acting now, as if he's one of the user, not the owner of the platform.
Do you see Musk making course corrections? If so, what might those be?
Well, I mean, given his history, I haven't seen any signs that he's going to change a lot. He might back off from one or the other. That could happen here and here because of the, because of the lashback he will get. But his style is the same, which is he doesn't report to anybody. He dissolved the board of directors. So he's basically, everything in the company. Until there is an accountability, until there is some kind of a board that will be serious with him, we'll hear about this again and again and again.
Thank you, Professor, for your time.
When we come back,
we'll tell you a new way companies, brands, and people can sponsor student athletes and how those student athletes can make a bit of cash.
I'm Mariana Martinez. Do you want to know if you should pack an umbrella this weekend? Stay tuned to find out.
San Jose State student athletes can now grow their online presence and get paid while doing so. The project is called Open Doors. Reporter Carson Wells explains how it's benefiting San Jose student athletes.
Open Doors is an online site that has helped over 90,000 student athletes connect with so-called NIL deals. That means deals that include their name, image, and likeness. The site launched in 2012, but San Jose State joined officially this year. The San Jose State Athletic Department has been working with Open Doors for about a year and a half. That partnership has evolved from one of just sharing photos with student athletes to letting those athletes create an online presence and market themselves. The deals are referred to as NIL, meaning using their name, image, and likeness.
So we signed a multi-year agreement with Open Doors, so that way our student athletes would have an opportunity to sell themselves on social media, and also now with the NIL marketplace, right, they can actually profit from this opportunity.
We really leave it up to the student athletes to engage in NIL opportunities the way that they want to, right? It's not a pressure situation, it's something that is an opportunity for them if they want it. And the students that have desired that have had some positive experiences with that. And that's our goal here as the athletic department, is to provide those opportunities for them if that's something that they want.
Student athletes can be sponsored by brands, companies, family members, friends, fans, and more. The opportunity allows them to start creating more of a professional presence and earn money in the process. It also gets them cool perks from their partners.
My friend has a taco truck NIL deal, so he gets free food. And it's just something where you can connect to the community, and almost like a job where you're getting, you're using your name and image to support yourself and others. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and while you're in college, make it worthwhile, and get the full experience and everything, a full experience out of college. NIL deal's new, and it's benefiting athletes around the nation, so I think it's a really good thing to get into Open Doors.
While the Open Doors NIL marketplace is still a new development at San Jose State, student athletes are already benefiting from its connections. Live in San Jose, I'm Carson Wells, Update News.
Children helping children. That's the mission of a local mariachi band in Hollister. Their latest project is a toy drive. Mariachi Corazón Jalisciente is a community band whose members are mainly children. They decided to host a toy drive to help kids whose parents don't have enough money to buy them toys for Christmas. The band is hosting free concerts in the community in exchange for toys.
Collecting toys is our goal for those kids who don't have any toys for their Christmas.
If you want to help, you can drop off toys at their main event November 13th at Hollister High School. We'll bring you a follow-up on how many toys they are able to collect.
Are those cooler temperatures here to stay? And could you see a few raindrops? Bariana Martez Garcia has your forecast.
Here's a look at this week's weather forecast. A taste of winter weather has arrived in the Bay Area with some rain at times, along with cold and breezy conditions. We could see some patchy frost the next couple of mornings, as well with another chance for some rain returning by next weekend. Let's take a look at the futurecast. The futurecast shows rain chances moving out to wrap up the week, although clouds should again be on the increase this weekend with some rain chances Saturday into Sunday, with better odds for areas in North Bay and interior Northern California. Let's take a look at our 7-day forecast. Temperatures should remain cool with low 60s near the coast, although it may feel cooler than that with chilly wind. Santa Cruz is going to stay at low 60s. Moving on to Oakland, an inner bay temperature also trending cool through the weekend, staying in the mid-60s. We will see rain chances at times into early next week. San Francisco will have windy and cool temperatures. It is expected to stay in the low 60s. There is a chance of rain. And San Jose temperatures will switch from 70s to low mid-60s into the weekend with shower chances ahead as well. I'm Badiana, and back to the desk.
When we come back, we have lots of sports on tap.
Homecoming for the San Jose State. I'm Jesus Telitude. Just ahead, I'll show you how the Spartans dedicated their big comeback win over Nevada to fallen teammate Camden McWright.
San Jose State holds its 15th annual Fire in the Fountain homecoming tradition with free food and gear. Students and alumni come on campus to hype up our football players before their big game.
I'll have that story coming soon.
At San Jose State, we really do learn by doing. This is my first semester working on our award-winning newspaper, the Spartan Daily. But my whole time here really has been about real-world skill building. Professors like Diane Gurazi continue their work in journalism while bringing that knowledge back to us in the classroom each semester. Then we're on the Spartan Daily, Update News, or the Spear. We get to put all that into practice. We even get to work with cutting-edge tools like our new VR lab, where we get to learn new ways of real storytelling using 3D virtual reality.
Our students have many opportunities to work in newsrooms that function like the ones they will encounter in their professional careers. Here in Update News, for instance, we produce a weekly show that is aired on local access television in San Jose, and we produce video news that is digital first. Students will get experience as producers, anchors, and field reporters.
The Spartan Daily, our award-winning student newspaper, has not missed a scheduled publication date in more than 80 years and remains one of the longest-standing papers of its kind in the Western United States. Through classroom instruction and our newsroom labs, we give our students the tools to succeed and create their own bright futures. Learn by doing. If you're interested in joining our program, visit our website for more information.
Homecoming week here at San Jose State was capped off with an emotional night at CEFCU Stadium. The football team took the field for the first time in a week following the tragic death of freshman and running back Camden McWright. But instead of playing with heavy hearts, the Spartans celebrated the life of their teammate the only way he would have wanted, with a win.
It was more than football at CEFCU Stadium. San Jose State faced Nevada, but the game was dedicated as a celebration of Camden McWright. Tragically, the freshman running back died when he was struck by a school bus the week before. His parents and family members were at the game. They received several tributes, including a poster signed by coaches and players. And when they asked for a moment of noise instead of silence, the stadium broke out into a frenzy.
This was really beautiful. It was a really beautiful celebration, and taking the time to really, let everyone know and show us what Camden McWright was.
Diane Kabakuru and Aliyah Pruitt both went to high school with McWright and are close friends with his family. They said the moment of noise embodied who he was.
I feel as though a moment of loudness really represented who Cam was, because he was loud. He had energy.
Other tributes to McWright included family and staff wearing shirts with his picture. His teammates also formed a giant 6 on the field. That was his number.
After all the emotions before the game, SJSU actually fell behind against Nevada 21-7. The team even had negative rushing yards at halftime. But the Spartans rallied back in the second half and scored 4 touchdowns to win 35-28.
Quarterback Chevin Cordero led the way with 340 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. But it was running back Kyrie Robinson who scored the winning touchdown to complete a second half comeback for the Spartans.
What a game. My goodness. I think when you consider everything that tonight was, for it to end that way and for it to have the emotion and the excitement and the finish and the ending that it had, what an incredible night.
The 5-2 Spartans continue the homestand this Saturday against Colorado State. Now let's shift to the latest on some other Spartan sports. Starting with women's soccer, the team advanced to the Mountain West Championship game for the first time since 2018.
The Spartans moved on to the Mountain West Championship game last night after defeating New Mexico in a penalty shootout. Goalkeeper Bennett Pierno stopped 2 spot kicks in the shootout. She finished the game with a career-high 9 saves. Pierno's heroics set the stage for Bella Flucchini to win the game and send the Spartans to the final. Here's head coach Tina Estrada after the game talking about Pierno and the team.
I don't think we could be more confident with her in goal. Starting us off with an incredible save and then getting a big-time save against, you know, one of the top players in our conference. And just so incredibly proud of her and proud of the whole team. And now it's on to recovery time and get ready to take it to Wyoming for the championship.
The men's soccer team also made headlines this week after clinching a spot in the WAC men's soccer tournament. The team drew 1-1 with Air Force and lost 1-0 to Grand Canyon University in its last 2 matches. The Spartans now face Seattle University on senior night to close out the regular season. And the women's swimming and diving team is off to a blazing start. The Spartans defeated Pepperdine and Pacific to begin 2-0 on the season. The team finishes off its 3-game homestand against Stanford next game.
The women's and men's basketball teams begin to warm up for the start of their seasons, with each playing an exhibition game this coming week at home. And that's this week's San Jose State Sports Update.
San Jose State's 15th annual Homecoming Week is one for the history books now. One of the most highly anticipated events each year is Fire on the Fountain. Our Gerardo Gonzalez shows us this year's festivities.
As the sun set, hundreds of students, faculty, and alumni packed Tower Lawn, eagerly anticipating this year's popular Fire in the Fountain performance. Some were first-timers.
I was just kind of curious to see what it was all about. You know, I heard about it through my friends, and I was like, I'm gonna check it out. It's pretty cool, seeing all the clubs here, seeing what they have to offer and things like that. They haven't started the performances yet, but I mean, it looks really promising, and I can't wait to see that later on.
Off to the side, some of the performers nervously warmed up as they waited for their turn to shine on stage.
And not a lot of people get to see ballroom dancing, and so it'd be really fun to just show people a fun Disney song, and then seeing people dance. Yeah.
Some performers were part of clubs giving away gear or engaging with students passing by their stands. Grupo Folclórico Luna y Sol is an SJSU club that works towards promoting, preserving, and educating people about Mexican culture through folkloric dance. Members say they were excited to not just perform at the event, but also have a chance to represent the organization to the entire Spartan community.
What I look forward to the most is the performances by everyone who's performing, and especially our club. We work really hard, the performers, and so I'm excited to see it, and I can't wait for everybody else to see it.
Then the moment everyone had waited for, the highlight of the night. A performer dressed as a Spartan set the tempo with the well-known shout of "This is Sparta" from the film 300, and so it began. Acrobatic performers showcased their skills with seemingly dangerous fire stunts. A couple of the performers held paraffin, a form of lamp oil that allows performers to fire breathe. They appeared to breathe out fire over their torches. The crowd cheered and applauded the stunts. Besides the fiery performances, there was plenty to keep everyone entertained. Food trucks, pop-up stands, tire flipping, and the ever-popular pie face slamming by none other than Sammy the Spartan.
Hey, watch out, you must do shot. We're ready.
Lots of smiles all around. In San Jose, Gerardo Gonzalez for Update News.
Homecoming's over, but don't worry, there's still plenty to do. Here's Carson's coming up calendar.
Here's what's coming up this week. Go to the first of many in a series of Startup Incubator speakers. There will be a panel of 5 entrepreneurs speaking, and you can learn how to apply for a proof of concept grant and get involved with the Spring Startup Incubator cohort. The event goes from 4 to 5:30 p.m. in the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Library SJPL Works Conference Room. The University Dance Theater presents Emerging. There will be 4 different performance times. November 3rd from 3:30 to 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. and November 4th, 3:30 p.m. to 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. The event will take place in the Spartan Complex in room 216. See one of Africa's most popular and recognized musicians at the Hammer Theater from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Here's what's coming up in athletics. On November 4th, men's basketball has their exhibition game against Cal State LA at 7 p.m. in the Event Center. And on November 5th, football takes on Colorado State at home at 7:30 p.m., volleyball takes on Wyoming at 1 p.m., and men's water polo takes on Long Beach State also at 1 p.m. That's all for this week.
And that does it for this week's edition of Update News. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at SJCU Update News.
For all of us here, thanks for joining us, and see you next week.